Hey guys, Doug Shadwell, Director of Survival Archery Systems, and it is an absolute pleasure today that I'm going to be meeting with my very good old friend Cameron McIntosh. He is the owner of Elands River Safaris in South Africa, where I'm going out to do some bow hunting in April of this year and also June through August of this year. So, welcome, Cameron. It's good to see you.
So nice to be online with you, man. We saw each other a few months ago when you're out in South Africa, and I took you out to our ranch. And man, it is really good to see how well you've done. It's been, 20 years since we were at university together, and you've made such a success of your life, man. I'm really proud of what you've done, and it's just also great to see what you've done on the business side of things as well.
Yeah. No, thank you. And I can say the same for you. I mean, all the things that when we had the barbecue that day on your farm and met your beautiful family, and just all the things that you've done in your career, your sporting career, and just the farm, man. It's amazing. So I'm super excited to basically just chat to you and give all my all the people that follow me and some of the guys who are thinking of coming out to Africa with me, sort of just an introduction to not only you and your farm, but also to South Africa and what it takes to get out to a beautiful place like Africa. And for some guys, it's a bucket list. It's been a dream of theirs for many years. So super excited to get into it and just hear what you've got to say.
Maybe I can kick off by just giving a bit of a background of myself. So I'm actually, my real job is being a dual board certified facial plastic surgeon and otolaryngologist and doing hospital developments. But my passion even more is nature conservation and hunting. So I've been hunting for 40 years of my life, and we had to start off with like little sparrows and slowly build our way up to antelope, etc., etc. I grew up on a cattle ranch about 1,000 miles from where we currently live. And we live right on the end of what we call the Garden Route, the south coast of Africa, in the city called Port Elizabeth. And when you fly directly from the States, you either fly into Cape Town or Johannesburg, and from there, there's always connecting flights depending on where your safari is going to be. And for us, the people fly another hour's flight to Port Elizabeth, and we have this advantage of a few things. So we are malaria free, so it's a big thing to consider. We are also only 45 minutes drive from the airport. So most of the hunters, you're going in the car for at least 3 hours. So it gets quite tiring. And then the other unique thing about the farm is just the biodiversity of hunting plains, hunting thick bush, hunting riverine areas. There is so much on offer on this kind of small little golden piece of land. So our actual primary property is about 1,500 acres, but then up the Elands Valley, we've got concessions on 10 times as much in the valley. And then depending on the kind of species people want to buy, we can have to drive up to 2 hours to get, for example, springbuck. We don't have springbuck. We're very serious about how we are wanting to bring in species that should occur there naturally. So Elands River Valley. Eland are our main animal, but we've got a lot of other spiral horns. We've got kudu, we've got nyala, we've got some beautiful sable. We're on the farm. We've got 20 species to hunt. And since you came to visit me in December, lots has happened. We have now almost completed our lodge renovation. We're busy with a house renovation, which will be completed by the 1st of June of this year. And then we also are churning out more hides for the bow hunters. So it's all very exciting with what's happening in Elands River Safaris, Doug.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. When I was there on the farm, one of the things that grabbed me the most was just the sort of the peace, tranquility, and the sheer beauty. It's there's a lot of places where you go hunting. It's flat. You're hedged in by bushes. You don't get to see that raw beauty of the mountains like you've got there. Like you say, you've got the plains, you've got the rolling hills. It's just an amazing spot.
I think one of the really important things that people who haven't come to Africa yet should consider is the slow pace that we have on Elands River, because we all live these pressurized lives. There's stuff happening, and to come out for a hunt is really a bucket list, once in a lifetime kind of thing. So we are really, really focused on making sure it's an incredible experience. We have 5 ensuite bedrooms in the house, so we never want more than 5 people hunting at a time. Obviously, we can cater for more of their family groups, etc. But sometimes the busyness of too many people takes away from what an amazing thing it is to come to Africa and hunt. So that's the one thing. And then the other thing that we hear so much of is people are so worried about South Africa and the situation and the politics and the violence, etc., etc. And I would say you just need to come on a flight from the States to Joburg, and you'll see half the people on the plane are coming to hunt in Africa. It's amazing to see. Because normally the flights, it's Delta and United that fly, and they arrive in Johannesburg and Cape Town normally in the evening, too late, so that you have to sleep in the hotel that night, and the next morning you fly down here. And those hotels are just full of guys in their safari clothes. It's wonderful to see. So what we have to do is, our client safety is the most important thing. So we are absolutely strict with a hotel that we've partnered with in Joburg, where people will sleep the night before they get chauffeured back to the airport to fly here. That's the one thing. The second thing is in terms of bringing weapons to South Africa. So we've got an agent in the States who helps with that. It's paperwork. We all know we just have to get through the paperwork. Obviously, it's more complicated with rifles than with bows. And we do, though, have our own rifles as well. So if it is a issue that somebody doesn't want to bring their own rifle, doesn't want to bring their own bow, we've got that, and we've got the ability to set that up for you, so that we know that you're going to shoot the animal ethically, drop straight away. Remember, we went to the ballistics laboratory, and
yes,
that's our pride and joy. Bring the guys out first and see. So you can talk the talk, but can you walk the talk? So we've got gongs starting at like 80 yards going right up to 1,000 yards, so the guys can play on there and really get comfortable with how they're shooting, because we're at an elevation of just over 1,000 feet. We're about 10 miles from the ocean, so there's all these other factors that come into play. And then people often ask, like, how far are my shots, or what should I take? So I'm just branching off into the gun side of things. I know you're a bit of a bow nut, but on the gun side of things,
I grew up on rifles. I used to shoot on a national level, so yeah, it's easier to shoot a rifle, but I love my bows now, so yeah.
No, sure. So on the rifles, like they say, what's your one rifle to bring? I'd say, like, everyone loves these 6.5 Creedmoors because they can shoot so far, etc. Listen, if you're going to bring down a sable or a wildebeest or a zebra, that's not going to do the damage you need to bring that animal down. So I would, like, 300 Win Mag, etc. We try and encourage people to always be using suppressors. We hunt with suppressors on the farm, and it's your shots are going to be under 200 yards most of the time. So if you can shoot your fist or an orange at 200 yards, you know that you'll be fine hunting. In terms of the bows,
let me ask you, before you go into the bows, let me ask you about, sometimes you get the guys who love to shoot off the back of a truck. Sometimes you get the guys who love to walk and stalk. What do you guys prefer? I mean, I'm a guy, I love to walk and stalk, at least when I'm with a rifle. When I'm with a bow, I love to be in a hide. How do you guys do it there?
So we only walk and stalk on the farm. Sometimes some of our other hunting partners have cull hunts, and that is sometimes shot off the back of what we call a bakkie, a truck. But generally, that's for us. You got to work for your buck. It doesn't work that way. You have to walk.
I agree.
And if you have a day out in the bush and it's hot and you're sweating and you get nothing, it's part of hunting, eh?
That's right. That's the way I've always done it. I grew up hunting like that. You had the trucks and you had the people who could drive the animals, but being on foot and working for that animal is definitely the way to go. In terms of animals, like, I know you've got a whole lot of them. I don't expect you to list all of them, but what are some of, like, your favorites or animals that you've got there that guys can expect to come hunt?
Doug, there's so much, eh? Do you want something smaller? Do you want something more elusive? Do you want, it's so much. It kind of, like, I think for me, an iconic animal in Africa is an impala. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful, it's plains game. So that's one of the bucket lists, and closely followed by blessed buck. They're kind of an introductory. I think what's a good kind of philosophy is come and start with a smaller animal first before you go to something big. I mean, Valibius, zebra, the nyalas are amazing. Bushbuck. I mean,
beautiful.
To shoot a bushbuck it's an incredible thing. Tough, tough as nails. Hartebeest. The eland, sable. I mean, what an amazing animal. And even then there's duck. We even got blue duck on the farm. I mean, a blue duck is the same size as a Jack Russell terrier. It's a small little animal.
Isn't the smallest duck in the antelope in the world or something? Eh?
Yeah, it's tiny. It's a top species. So we had this very special permission to have them. So I think what I've done on our Instagram is actually I've gone through shot placement of all the animals that are available. And if you're really serious, we don't have buffalo on our farm because it means that you actually can't walk and stalk everywhere. But our neighbors have. So we do help clients with that kind of a thing as well. So there's various tiers of hunting, but once it gets to the really big dangerous stuff, you got to know what you're doing. You shouldn't be doing that on your first hunt in Africa.
Yeah, I personally wouldn't want to meet a buffalo in the bush on foot. So awesome.
What we try and do as well, Doug, which is cool, is we actually feed the food we'll make for you that evening will be most likely an animal you shot that day, which is pretty cool.
Oh wow, that is very cool. I know it's something, obviously, your documentation and your permits to bring your rifles over. Just to mention that in South Africa, a crossbow is a perfectly legal weapon to have. You can bring that without permits. And obviously your bows, there's no problem bringing bows into the country either. But in terms of poundages and the legality of hunting with recurves, do you have any advice on what kind of poundages the guys will be looking at?
I wouldn't want to step into the bush anything under 50 pounds.
On a compound?
Yeah. Okay. It's a good question. Often it's not so much the poundage as how accurate can you actually shoot.
Yeah.
And that's why we've got 3D targets that will take the bow hunters to before they're here. We will make sure that bow is set up correctly, because we don't want to be wounding animals and we want to be missing animals. So if you're going to be spending your time coming to Africa, you need to know how to shoot well before you get here.
Yes. But for instance, you're not going to try and shoot an eland with a 50-pound recurve. You're probably going to want something a lot beefier.
You're just going to make it angry then, eh?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, that's probably something I would suggest that the guys do a bit of research. We can probably answer some more detailed questions. If the guy wants to shoot an eland, bring your 60, 70, 80-pound compound bow. But if you want to shoot something more challenging like an impala, your 50-pound recurve will probably do the job just fine. So like a rifle, you're probably choosing different bows for different animals.
A question that a lot of people ask is, how does it work? So two things I want to touch on, a little bit about the finances, but also about the clothes, etc., that you're going to be wearing. So we have a laundry service. So if you're going to come for a 7-day hunt, you don't have to have 7 sets of clothing because it's going to be a huge bag you have to take with. We obviously are into trying using as much camo. And I mean, if you're a bow hunter, clearly you've got to make sure that those animals don't see you. It can get cold for our South African standards. Okay, you might be lucky if you get frost in the morning, but in winter it would go up to, in degrees Celsius, maybe 15 or 18 degrees on a cold winter's day for us. So you don't need thermal clothes, etc.
It's about 50 Fahrenheit.
Yeah. So that's the one thing. And then the second question. So we're very transparent in terms of what's this going to cost me. So if you go to our website or our Instagram, you'll see these are the price lists. So we have 2 parts. We suggest what you can put together as a package, or you can pick and choose and put your whole thing together. And what's key to understand is there's a deposit that gets paid, And then at the end of the hunt, the rest of the money gets paid. And that's basically made up of 3 parts. It's to say, okay, I want to shoot the following 4 animals. I want to shoot an impala, a blessed buck, a nyala, and a hartebeest, for example. And that's what that package costs you. The second part is what are the day fees. So there might be a friend who wants to come with, or a spouse, or somebody like that. And then the third part is people always asking, what about tips? So we would advise a client to say, listen, okay, this is what this whole hunt's going to cost you. So not try and say, oh, it's only this much. They need to know exactly what the deal is. And then they know what they're in for. And we also know sometimes we don't see a certain animal. Sometimes we see a different animal. Sometimes you're lucky and you might shoot 2 animals on the first day. And then you're going to fill your time with shooting more. So that's crucial. And then the last thing that I think we also should really kind of dig into, but is what else do you do if you're not hunting? So we realize that sometimes there could be a weather problem or something like that. We love taking some clients fishing because we are at the ocean. There are quite a few what we call the big 5 reserves. So when you want to go and look at the big 5 animals like elephants or rhinos, etc., they're just across the valley from where we are. And we really want to cater for people who also just want to tap out for the day and maybe do take some photographs instead of hunting that day and go and see some of the other nature reserves. Yeah.
Great. In terms of, let's say someone shoots the 4 that they're after, do you have someone that can help you with taxidermy, sending mounts back to the US, that type of stuff?
Yeah. So, great question. So I think that's what hunters must understand is, often, we've partnered with some really good guys. They come and so the animal gets caped, and then the hunter decides what kind of a mount do they want, from like a European skull mount to shoulder to the whole animal, etc. And obviously they cost different prices. But as a rule of thumb, if say, for example, an impala is $500, it's probably going to cost you the same for the taxidermy. And within the taxidermy world, there are also often 2 different ways. The one is clients will have that all done in South Africa, and the South African taxidermist will send it back to the States. But there are some clients who actually take the skins and the horn, and that gets shipped to the States, and their taxidermist in the States does it for them. So but I think it's a really key thing to remember in your budget. Is it's very special to shoot something, and it's great to take some of the memento back with you.
Yes, I was looking at some of your Instagram stuff where you were talking about shot placement and a couple of the taxidermy things, and it looks like your guys are doing some really good work on this side, as is. Yeah, awesome. Right, so Cam, I'm super excited to get out to you guys in April. I've been telling a couple of we call it friends of SAS guys who I've been in email touch with for years, guys who've bought product from us multiple times. There's a good couple of guys who are really excited about basically signing up. A couple of them would love to come out when I'm coming out in the June to August season, and then there's probably a couple of guys who also want to come out on their own. What do you need from us to get going? Obviously, we need to start looking at dates, that stuff. How do we kickstart the guys who want to come over?
So Doug, that's good. So in terms of the Doug tour, hey, with your mates, we've already penciled in a few dates that we'll confirm with you guys later on that. In terms of guys who just want to reach out and necessarily come on their own or with a buddy or something, yeah, just reach out to us on our socials and see if we can still fit you in. The season's quite tight, but we really do try our best to work. We do have 2 accommodation areas on the farm, in the farmhouse and the lodge. So if it is that there is need for separating groups, absolutely. But we try and lock the farm down for the client and make that absolutely their time to do what they want to do. I mean, I know some of these guys love actually sleeping in the bush the night. They don't want to necessarily come back to the camp. There's also bush pig hunting at night. It's pretty cool. So we have baits where they feed them, and those aren't boars like America. These are African bush pig.
That's a badass thing.
Once you've shot him, just stay up in the hide. Don't go look for him because he'll come for you. So yeah,
you don't rent a 45, eh?
Yeah, no, you have to have backup on that. Our hunting season, we have game fence the entire farmer's game fence, so it's actually throughout the year. But generally in our summer, which is the American winter, is when all the new antelope are giving birth, etc. So we normally open up the farm from about March to about September. And in the middle of that, when you guys are going to coming out July, August, that's obviously peak hunting time. And you have a pH, that's what we didn't even speak about. Every hunter has to have a pH with them. And we have our farm staff who will help with collecting the game, the caping, all that kind of stuff.
Excellent. And food's included in the deal. The guys don't worry about food.
It's fully catered. The menus here, you decide what you want, if you have any allergies, etc. I think it's one of the things we have our first meeting, we lay out the rules, etc. One of the key things is if you want to come out and have a party and drink, you're not hunting the next morning. So if somebody is no one can pick up a rifle if they have had any alcohol. That's just not something we won't even think of doing. So
no, it's not even legal.
It's great to come and have some wine with your meal. I mean, the South African wines are incredible, and what I love is we actually have our own mead from all the beehives we have on the farm, and it's amazing to have that at the end of the day with the sunset and stuff. So I'm not saying we are no booze, but we're saying if you have gone too far, it's the pH that's going to make the call, and don't think you're going to go into the veld if you are still drunk the next morning.
No, absolutely. Safety first, all the way. Great. Well, Cam, it sounds like you guys are starting to fill up. So I'm going to get my guys on it. The guys who want to come on their own, I'm going to suggest that they email you straight away. And like I said, we're starting to put some dates together, starting to think about when we can come out as a group of friends of SAS, so to speak. And we're going to start locking that in pretty soon as well. And I'm excited, man. I'm looking so forward to my trip in, 4 weeks away. And we've got some Impala and some Blesbok planned. And I'm just going to be loving putting some feet down in the Eastern Cape again. It's what I live for, man, just being out in the bush.
No, Doug, it's a special place, and it was great to see you, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to come from this. I mean, obviously you're going to be with us in a few weeks' time, and then again in the middle of the year. And if anyone is interested, they can email hunt@elandsriversafaris.com or jump on our Instagram, jump on elandsriversafaris.com website, and make it happen, eh? So, yeah, Doug, thanks. I so appreciate being on this, and it's just wonderful to touch base again and see what you've done. And I just wish you guys the very best. Eh?
You too, and I really look forward to seeing you in 4 weeks' time. All right,
okay.
All right, Cam. Go well. Hey, see you soon.
Thanks.